that is done. And then we're going to go live on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah, I just like to keep the screen of the two of us talking because the time lag when you do it on Facebook makes it really annoying.
Okay.
Readings with, this will get their attention, and Flynn, exclamation point. Okay. They just love any kind of reading, but I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, people always want to know. They want to know.
I just had like a post go like nuts. I'm not nuts, but for me, like nuts, like 30,000 views, which I don't usually get anything like that. And it was just the question, you know, it was an episode I did, how do I tell the difference between my intuition and thoughts? I was like, I was like, I need to learn to pander more. Anyway, we're going to be live in like 2 seconds. So hopefully those will not be the very first words that I utter. Hello, everyone. I know we're live right now. I am just moving things around to see Katherine again and find us on this little device and wipe my nose, and then we'll be good to go. I'm just dealing with a little bit of allergies today. I know. Okay. Looks like we are good. And we already have some people watching, and I think I'm gonna have to take these glasses on and off. I haven't done one with my glasses on before. So far vision, good with glasses, reading, not good with glasses. I'm at that age now, so you'll see them come on and off. But hello, everybody. Welcome. I know Lexi's gonna hop on and tag more of you guys, but in the meantime, hello, it is so cool to be back, and I'm back today with this week's podcast guest, Katherine Flynn, and I'm so excited to reconnect with you, my friend.
I know, me too. I feel like we were long lost friends that met when we recorded this, and I'm excited to be back again.
Yay. And I'm sure the friendship will continue. And you had actually said, I don't know if you texted it or emailed it or even said it afterwards, but I had the exact same hit that we were sisters in other bodies.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw that when we were talking. I don't know if I saw that during the episode, but I think I saw that like before you said it, but like when I was listening anyway. So I wanted just to say that I had a similar intuition. So
yeah.
It's good to find you again, sister friend.
Yeah, you too.
But you know, I'm going to tell the story again. It's in the episode, but I can't help to tell it twice. And there's other things in the episode too. So you should still listen to it. Even if you come up to these lives, if you are a podcast listener, you should listen because, there's always fresh information and it's really cool. And I want to say hi to Jeremy, that I think is one of yours that we just welcomed to the group. So I know you can't see any of this, and I can't see who else is on, but I know Lexi's coming on soon to @ everyone. And because now that's the only way that people find us on Facebook. Yeah. Even if they're looking, it's like Facebook makes it fun. But anyway, I want to tell the story really quick about how we connected, because it's just one of those funny, magical, synchronous crazinesses about, you know, well, it was maybe like a year ago already. I was looking for new guests to have on the show. I was in a little bit of a dry spell, and I did something that I've never done before. I looked on one of the, and hi, Tessa, good to see you too. I looked on one of these podcasting Facebook groups where it's called like Find a Guest. And usually I use those if I'm doing intuitive readings. So a lot of times if I'm giving a free reading on the show, I hit up podcasters because I know they understand how a podcast works and they have the fancy microphone, and, you know, so it saves me like a lot of headaches. But I've never done it for an actual like guest, someone who's featuring their work, because when you put these posts out there, you get like 50, 60, 70, 100, a million people, and it's just too overwhelming to deal with. But I did it. I had that experience. I spent like 2 or 3 days interviewing people, found no one that I actually wanted to have on the show. True story. And then towards the very tail end, this lady comments, and I said like, oh, wow. And she, and Katherine, I haven't even let you introduce yourself, but she's a channeler and she channels the druids, which I was so fascinated by. And so she put all this in the note, and I was so burnt out that I was sort of like, well, that's great. That sounds really cool. Like, let's reconnect later. Like, I'm fascinated by what you do. And then, you know, I left the whole thing aside. And a little while ago this year, when I was also starting to look for guests again in my mind, because oftentimes you formulate the question in your mind and then life answers. So I was starting in my mind without doing anything to, start to fill the roster again for new guests. I suddenly my attention was brought back to someone had commented again on that original post from a year ago. And I didn't really recognize it, but Catherine's response to that post popped up and I didn't even know what it was. And immediately I had the thought, that is so interesting. I need to ask her to be on my show. And then I looked down and my next comment was, that's so interesting. Like, we need to follow up so I can have you on the show. So I hope I told that story well.
You did.
Yeah, but it's just amazing. And it also tells you about divine timing, right?
It does. I think everything's supposed to happen when it does and when it's supposed to. And obviously we weren't supposed to connect until a few months ago and record and then launch today. Because if we would have done it months ago or last year, it wouldn't have had the same impact for people.
Yeah. I absolutely believe that things always happen as they should. But again, when you get these synchronicities and like, she just appeared again out of the blue, it's oftentimes our guidance or our soul or spirit tapping us on the shoulder and saying, look there now. And, the more that I do, the more I discover these magical moments. So I'm really glad that happened. I'm really glad you're here. While I dab my nose again, sorry guys. Tell us about you and what you do in your very own beautiful words.
Yeah. So I'm a channeler of druids, which I'm sure most of your or people that are on have seen. And I channel the druid consciousness, really working on life purpose, connection to the earth, the integration of the fourth dimension, fifth dimension, and really understanding how it affects us in a human way. Because, we all say we're spiritual beings, but they always tell us, well, you're human too, like you've inhabited the body for a reason. So they really focus on that. So I do, channeling for people, private sessions. I also do life purpose coaching, where we really work on making sure that you can find your purpose and really start working towards that. Along with portal healing sessions that I will do. And I do a lot of teaching and speaking engagements too, kind of around different areas, whether it be online or in person.
I love it. I love it. I was starting to get people's comments and questions. So bring them on, because we are going to be doing mini readings today and answering your questions. And we'll get to as many of you as we can. And there's always a time lag on Facebook. So bring them on. Sometimes they disappear and I have to play with them a little bit. So if I say I can't see anything and you have a question, you can post it as many times as you want. Okay. Because Facebook just is always changing the rules and the interface. Mm-hmm. But I want to go back to something you said before we do the thing that I know everyone really is excited for us to do. I want to talk about a little bit that idea. You're here to be human.
Yeah.
You're here to be human, because I think it's so important. And I remember when I first started doing this work, that message came to me so many times, both for myself and my clients, because so many people think spirituality, we talked about this maybe in the episode too, is sort of flying out the top of your head and going off into spirit world. And that can be helpful sometimes to remember your spiritual origins, to connect with, beings and energies beyond this human realm, but you're here for a reason. And so you're here to, first and foremost, the way I understand it is your spiritual practice is your life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
It is. It's your spiritual practice is how you reconnect back to your higher self, to source, to all of those other, energies that we have. But we've truly inhabited the human form because we can experience things in such a different way than we can in the spiritual world. So I know for me personally, I spend most of the time out of my body. As a channeler, that's what I do. My soul typically is out and above, and I'm not really connected to the earth. I'm not grounded. I mean, I even live in air, like I live in a condo, so I'm not even on the ground. And so they really have had to work with me to say, no, you need to experience it in a human way. So it's funny, I'll be walking down the street or out in nature, and all of a sudden I'll go, wow, seeing this tree from a human eye is so different than seeing it from a spiritual standpoint or from a soul's eye. So it's really looking at it that way and enjoying the time we have on this earth. Even, there's those ups and downs. We're like, gosh, I wish this was over. I wish we had, I could get past this point, but really saying this is for our spiritual evolution, but it's also just to have fun within this body and just find the joy that you look for.
Beautiful. Sorry, I'm doing too many different things. I'm trying to get all the questions and hear what you say. And yeah, no, I love that. For me, when I tune into my intuition, I always have this sensation of going inside and into my body. Mm-hmm. So it's a very different circumstance. There are times I always connect to my highest self. And I always have the sense of connecting others that way through the crown chakra when I'm doing that work. But for me, when I'm doing a reading, it's always going inside. So I think it's semantics. I think it's how we understand it, but that's so important to me. It's always going into my inner being, into my body, into that. I don't even think about it as flying anywhere else. And for me, some of the deepest spiritual moments are moments in nature, and moments when I recently, especially, like, there's so many times when the plant life calls to me. And it's just, sometimes it's orgasmic. Sometimes it's really like, I'll see a flower and it's like an orgasmic experience. And other times my mind is wandering and I'm looking for guidance, or I'm perseverating on something, or I'm going into an uncomfortable place, and a plant or an animal will call me back and say, Victoria, look over here. Yeah. And, then everything regroups and realigns. So for me, it's the being present with myself and in my body is where it all comes from.
Yeah, that's wonderful. You've already learned the lesson that so you're about to still trying to learn and figure out. But then again, I think there's no perfect way to do it. You connect with your body in a different way than everybody else does. So everyone's find their thing.
Yeah. And that's what I learned to do as well. And again, I think to a certain extent it's semantics, right? Because what does it mean to be in your body?
Right.
Right. Yeah. Like, it's the way that somebody understands a particular experience and explains it to you. But at the end of the day, you are your body. You are also not your body. You're everything and everywhere. So it's just a way of understanding the process, and it can really be different for everybody.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
All right. We got questions. I'm trying to find them. We got a lot of them. I'm going to kind of eeny, miny, mo, because there are so many. And we have a bunch of people watching. So hello, everyone, if I missed you. And again, I have a little bit of old lady eyes, or older woman eyes. Let's be kind. And so I'm not wearing my contacts today because my eyes were a little itchy from allergies. So you're going to see a lot of this today. So bear with me. Because if I want to see Katherine, they need to be on. And if I want to see the sunset out there, which is spectacular, they need to be on. But if I want to read your comments, I have to go like this. Okay. Ooh, we have lots of people. Oh, Kelly, it's so good to see you. Kelly says, yay for plants. And she goes, I just joined apparently at the right time. It's hysterical because Kelly, who's also been a guest on the Intuitive Connection podcast, is a herbalist. So
wonderful.
With a deep connection to the plant world. So it is pretty funny that she popped on at that moment. And you see, friends, you can't make this stuff up. This is how life is supposed to work.
Yes, for sure.
All right. Beth James says, thank you both so much. Loved your interview today. I had already asked about whoops. All right. I had already asked about clarity moving into alignment with my career work purpose. But now that I listened to you both this morning, I'm super curious about this. I've always felt connected in nature, and I feel like I might be receiving there, but I'm somehow missing it. I would love to get out of my own way and be able to hear and feel outside of my busy brain. I love that question. And I love that I was guided there first. Yeah. I'm going to let you hit it first, but I'm getting some downloads too.
Okay. Yeah, I think the first step for you in particular, and I think for other people, is when you go into nature, really connect in with your inner self, your soul, your higher self, go into meditation, let your mind and your ego really get out of the way. And when you feel it coming in, really just push it back, find that tree that talks to you or that plant that talks to you. They all communicate with us and they can all give us great information. And so really find that one that will lead you where you need to go. Every day I get up, whether I'm in, when I get out of bed or throughout the day, no matter where I'm at, I kind of check in with myself and say, okay, what do I need to realize now? What am I not hearing? What is my body telling me? What is my soul telling me? And how does that work together with where I'm at? So I think that's the first step for you in kind of that journey along the way.
Yay, I love that. That's a beautiful answer. And I want to remember who we're talking to. I believe it was Katherine, right? I hope it was. Okay. But anyway, what I was picking up, I just wanted to tune into your name again so I can re-get the thread, but let's see if I can do it.
And I don't remember her name. I'm sorry.
I don't remember either. Oh, no, it's Beth. Okay,
Oh,
good. I
Beth.
just wanted to check into the right person.
Yeah.
So, Beth, when I turn into you too, like the first thing that comes through to say is the very fact that you are asking this question means that you already sort of know the answer, meaning you're already that awaken and knowing in you, you already know that this is an area that you're going to feel called to connect more. So I would follow that intuition that's already spoken to you, which you're doing by asking this question. But again, I just want you to know you already have that answer, and that let me get this from the guides, but they say go ahead. I hate when they do that. Um, so I want to value and honor that for you, number one. And number two, I feel it's just a practice. It's just about doing it. And so you'll know now, you'll feel more now, like when you want to be out in nature. It's not something that you really have to work on. It's something that's going to happen for you. It's going to happen for you as you start to practice that and start to let that more into your life. So I just feel like it was a kind of a deep calling for you that just got remembered when you listen to the episode, which is exactly how it's supposed to be. So yay. And then I'm also getting this very specific image. And I don't know if it's from a place you live now or a place that you used to live, but it's like a park. And it looks to me almost like a child image, because there's a tree, but the tree has like these big apples on it, almost as if it's like cartoonish. But the pond itself has like ducks and grass around it. And it looks like a fairly kind of developed place. So I don't know if that's a place from your childhood, if that's an idealized place. But anyway, if that image resonates with you at all, follow that. But again, nature's everywhere. So picking up an apple, being with the tree, looking at the ducks, all of those are moments for us to connect. And I too find, and we probably talked about this in the episode, but I already don't remember. I find too, some of my greatest moments, especially of connecting with my wisdom for me, come when I'm around nature, because when I'm spending time in nature, it just naturally stills my mind. It, it does it on its own.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what else we got. I hope that was a good answer. If you have follow-up questions, you can let me know and maybe I'll see them. Cindy, I'm kind of going backwards today. Oh, Nicole, it's so good to see you. And Jill, it's so good to see you too. And thank you guys. And Cindy asks, would appreciate any career advice you could give.
Okay, for Cindy in particular, first of all, you're getting in your own way is what they keep showing me and telling me, is that you need to understand that what you believe you need is not what you need. And so if you can allow yourself to truly reconnect back to what you love, you need to find your passion in life. You need to find what brings you joy. That when you can do that, and I know you're big on helping people, you're big on that caretaker, that nurturing role. You may not realize it, but you are. But when you can do that, and when you can find your passion, your career world will open up for you. But you think, well, I need to do this because this is my experience, or I need to do this because this is my path, or this is what I know. And for you in particular, it's about not what you've done, but what you can be open to, or where you can move those skill sets around. And they also want me to say, actually, this is a question I've gotten from a lot of people, and this is a similar answer. So I think for anyone wondering about career, this is a great thing to look at for you as well. Where do you find passion? What brings you joy? What do you love? Because if we don't love what we do, there's no point in doing it, and we'll continue to have struggles.
Yeah, I love that. And I happen to know Cindy personally, and she's been on many of these lives,
Okay.
Asking similar questions. And I love your answer. And I love the answer particularly, a lot of times, and this just came up with, I had another client today reach out about something that I'd said that kind of finally stuck. And a lot of times with our career, with our training, with the world, we put ourselves into boxes that don't need to be there. They don't need to be there. And so when you can start to let go of the needing to know, understand, decide, have clarity, have one answer, have one purpose, and just start to follow what's interesting and exciting to you now.
Yeah.
Right. That can sometimes start to pave the way to seeing how all the diverse puzzle pieces of your life would like to go together in this moment of time. And remember, that puzzle is always changing. We often think like there's just one puzzle, and once I get all the pieces together, it'll be done, except that your puzzle is constantly in flux.
Yes, especially,
right? And the image is constantly changing. And so it's always about finding that equilibrium in the now. Go ahead, my friend.
Yeah, it's also about too, as these last few years, as we've been moving into the fourth dimension and everyone has kind of been shaken up, what we knew before isn't what we know now. So don't think about who you were,
that's a big one.
in the last 2 or 3 years. Really think about, who am I now? What do I love now? Where am I at?
That's a big one for a lot of people. And it's interesting because as you say that, I see for Cindy, I get the image of someone who has cans. These cans are like tied to your ankles, and you're walking around and you're dragging these cans and they're making a really loud noise, and you're trying to kick them off. And I think the message is like, you don't have to carry those around anymore. You don't have to think. Sometimes we think that, well, when I did this before, it was such a hardship, or it had this, and this is about shaking things up, knowing, well, maybe I'm going to have a caretaking role, but in a different way. Or maybe I don't have to have a caretaking role at all. Or maybe I'm going to study, I'm going to write a book, but it's going to be a very different process than the way I wrote books 20 years ago. So that doesn't apply to you, I know specifically, or maybe it does. But so, being aware of that, you can let go of some of those encumbrances now, even if they were things that you associated with, if I do this, it has to be encumbered. It's time for you to sort of know that the cans are going to be there as long as you're hearing them, but that you don't, how do I say this? I want to get this from the guides, and maybe you're going to get something first. That it's really okay to let them go. And just because something was true before in this context doesn't mean it's going to be true again, or it's true now.
Yep. We're making it a weight. We're making it heaviness. And so just let the heaviness go and let it be what it be.
All right. So here is another general question. Are you ready?
I am.
Kara asks, any advice regarding my divorce? I don't have a specific question, just whatever message comes forward.
The first thing that you have to understand is that you always need to make decisions out of love and compassion. And that is not just for you specifically, Kara, with this divorce, but I think that's for everybody. You really have to make those decisions out of love. If you make it out of hate or anger or fear, it's never going to turn out as it should. But I think for you too, it's about being strong in who you are. You know what you want, and it's not about playing games or manipulation or seeing where it is, but it's truly about looking at to where you two were, tapping into that you both are ready to move on. You both need to move on, and that a divorce is not an awful thing. I think people grow and change and evolve over time. And sometimes those relationships can stick together. Sometimes they can't. But as long as the two people have really put in the work to see, can it still work? Can it still be connected to what it needs to be? Did they go into it for the right reasons? And can they amicably and both with love still in their heart go their own separate ways, and still know that there is still that relationship there and what you learned from each other and how you grew with being part of that relationship. I think that's the most important part. So keep your head high. I see it as a very positive. They keep showing me a very positive, good ending to this. So there's nothing for you to worry about. You've got a good mindset in it. Don't change kind of your path right now with it.
I love that. I get the same read. And Kara, I also get to piggyback off of that. There are parts of yourself, and we all have these experiences when we're coupled, right? Certain parts of ourselves are more easy to express. Other parts get a little more suppressed, right? And it's just the natural dance of when we couple, when we're with other people, and because we all have a natural tendency to adapt to the people that we're around. So for you, I would also, and this will help you see that beautiful channel moving forward, I would also really think about the parts of yourself that you're really longing to express, that are really blossoming now, that are really blooming, that are really coming forward now, that really were not able to be fully expressed in that relationship. I think it will give you a nicer perspective on, the shift that you're going through. But I also think it will shine the way for what you want, your soul really wants for you to express and experience moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's see what else we got. Kelly was asking about her migraines, repetitive migraines that are frequent as of late. Oh, I'm getting an answer, but you go first again because I'm
Okay,
trying to
so
keep track.
what I'm giving you on migraines, Kelly, is that you don't want to hear or get the downloads anymore. You're kind of blocking certain things, not allowing for that information to flow, and it allows you to rest. When you have a migraine, you can go inward, you can sit, and you can rest. And so if you can, in small sections, you can ask your guides to slow down the downloads, you can ask them to ease them up, but really make sure when you get those clues in that you need to rest. Like, you know, there are some days where I lay in bed all day. My body is saying it just wants to rest. I read, I take, you know, I sleep, I doze, I maybe will watch a movie, but take those days when you need it. We're all so programmed to say, oh, I need to keep going. Oh, I need to do this. I need to do that. Like we're a society that wants us to be busy. And I think we don't take enough of that time for us just to recharge and regenerate. And when we get those big downloads, it's very taxing on us. It's a lot for us to take in, and it does drain our energy. So be willing to take those. Ask them to slow it down or give it to you at a lighter pace, and really just be open to it. Because I feel like you're trying to block it, and you feel like if you don't feel well, you can block it. And you're creating these migraines, but you're still getting the downloads because you're just too drained. It's just too much to handle.
I like that. And the only other thing I'm getting for you, Kelly, is there's a tea that you can make for yourself. Like, I feel that now that Katherine said this, it's going to help you know what remedy you need to kind of relax into it. It's about relaxing into it, relaxing into what's happening, relaxing into what's happening for you. And also, I think too, sometimes we close down, especially I know you in your life, because we just feel overwhelmed. There's too much. It's, you know, as someone who's really shed a lot of people from my life as of late, I mean, not in a bad way because there's anything wrong with them, but just because I'm living alone and my kids are grown and stuff like that. Like, I recognize how much bandwidth peopling takes up, you know, for people that do kind of what we do. And there's nothing wrong with it. I love all my people too. But for you, I think sometimes there might be a sense of overwhelm, too many clients, too many people, too many dogs, too many children, even though all of those things bring you joy. And so, you know, you may need to create the space for yourself to have some of those downloads. And as I say this, I'm getting a headache. So I don't know what that means, but I am going to let your beautiful self go. All right. So did we hit up Tina yet? Do you remember? Because Tina's got a question. People are coming up with multiples. All right. Tina wants to know, not a very specific question here, but it's all good. You can ask whatever you want, friends. I'm not making fun of you. My purpose, and am I on the right path? So sometimes those are hard for us to answer on a Facebook Live, but look, looks like she's got it going.
I think what's happening is you are, but you question it too much. You really, like, they're showing me you're on your path, but you keep creating these like diversions off the path because you're like, well, maybe I want to try this and maybe I want to try that. And your guides are like, oh, come on, like, just like, could you just stick around? Like, can you just stay on the straight line that we're giving you? You want more excitement in your life. You want more adventure. So that's why you keep pushing yourself in all these other ways, but you'll get that if you can just walk this next section of it. That's pretty straight, pretty even keel. And then that's when you're going to have that, because you're going to learn a lot through this, even though you may not realize how much you're learning. You're really going to absorb and learn a lot, and take this time for rest. They're telling me, you're like the Energizer Bunny, like you just want to go. And so really just take that time now just to enjoy where you're at, you know, take a deep breath all day long, like just enjoy it, because when it turns on is when it's really going to start to roll for you.
I love that. Sorry, the sunset here is really spectacular. And it is just, I'm having a little problem, not just having my eyeballs riveted on it. But I wanted to add to that too, Tina. This is in general for people. And when I saw that question pop up, and it's a great question, it's a question a lot of people have. So I hope my first response was meant to be loving, and I hope it came across that way. But, you know, purpose it's one of those tricky human words. And, you know, it made me think I want to teach a whole class on connecting with your purpose. So probably someday soon I will, because I think that is what we all long to do, but it's something that's so misunderstood. Purpose can be so misunderstood. And to speak to the point of doing, we so often think of purpose as aligned with our doing. And your main purpose here, I've been told again and again by the guides, is the being. You are showing up and having this human experience. You are good. You are fulfilling your purpose. And so what we really mean more and more is we want to live in alignment. We want to feel more purposeful. We want to feel more aligned. We want to live our lives more the way our, more from that soul's perspective. We want to bring more of that awareness into our human skin. And very most importantly, we want our doing to be aligned, to come out of that great sense of being, to come out of, what our soul is calling us to do, because most of our doing in life is driven behavior. We're staying constantly busy and doing stuff, and because we've taught we're supposed to do it, and it's, stimulus response, blah, 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 blah. And it's not very fulfilling. And so a lot of times, but a lot of times we go at finding the purpose from that same lens, and you're not going to find it that way. So as you tune into your purpose, recognize a couple of things. And this goes to anyone that has that question. Really, it's not specific.
Yeah.
The first thing is, I lost the thread. Hold on. When you're trying to tune into your purpose, recognize a couple of things. Got it. The first one is like that moving puzzle piece that, the guides gave us earlier, right? It's always changing. You don't have like one purpose that you have to figure out and then you're done. Your purpose is always evolving. It's always changing. And though there might be some overarching principles and ideas that your soul came in to explore during this lifetime, and sometimes it's nice to know what they are, everything is always in constant flux. So, the secret to finding your purpose is not in discovering one single answer. It's understanding where your soul wants to express itself now, right? And how your soul wants to express itself now, and how you can get out of the way and align with how your soul wants to express itself now. And the last thing that wants to come through on this is like quick little teaser for everyone, or a little cheat or whatever, like what your soul really wants to do is have you live in as much joy and ease and grace as possible. That's actually your purpose. And so if your purpose is telling you something that's taking you way far away from that, you are probably looking in the wrong place.
Absolutely. And I want to add too, not just for her, but for everybody, is that I don't know who is questioning this right now, but they're saying, why are they just answering personal questions? But I want you to understand that even though it's a personal question for someone else, we're all learning from it. It's awesome. There's a reason why each single person is on here right now. And so even though it was a question that someone else asked, pull what that means to you. How do you resonate with that? And how does that fit in your life? You're going to remember what you need to. Yeah.
And one of the reasons why I do these, my friends, I do readings on the podcast, and I also do these readings, here in the Facebook group. One of the many reasons, other than the fact that you guys all love them so much, is that we do learn from each other's stories. And so you're going to get your answers, but you might hear your answers through somebody else's answers too. I know I got a lot of feedback from the last reading that I did, Angela's reading. A couple people said like, wow, you said something to her and it resonated with me. So I totally agree. All right. Michelle wants to know, we're going to do just a couple more and then we're going to wrap up. So get them out there. I think we've almost got something on everyone now. Michelle asks, I'm feeling called to focus on recording music. Tell me more. Michelle, you already know what I think about that. So we'll see what.
I think if you're called to it, you definitely need to move forward with it. They're saying that this is going to show you creativity in a different way and allow you to really use your voice. I see your throat chakra is very blocked. And so you really need to let that out, and that vibration of singing will be important. You put your heart and soul into singing and voice. So I would say definitely move forward with recording. I think it might shift a little bit into something else after recording. But I think this is the step you need to continue on your journey. So I say go for it. To me, I see nothing negative about it. And I think music is one of the most amazing things we have.
Yeah, that's beautiful. All right. I'm going to let Jeremy follow up on his question. Did he already ask a question?
I don't think so.
All right. He says this is for Katherine specifically. So Jeremy, does that mean you do not want me to chime in? You let me know, but we'll give it to her.
Okay.
I'm a musician and I'm in a band, and I try to connect with or try to reach people through music. I put a lot of passion and emotion into my craft, but I recently have been given an ultimatum it's going to be hard for me not to answer this. So, you're going to have to say stop if you want me to shut up. Because it's my Facebook Live. No, I'm just kidding. I've been giving an ultimatum regarding the removal and replacement of a band member. My initial feeling is to remove and replace the member who presented the ultimatum, but I don't know. No matter what, someone is going to leave, and I'm all torn about it. And I hate that, that it even has to be my sole decision. How do I find peace with this decision? It's a great question.
It is. And I know Jeremy.
He says I can chime in.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
But you go ahead.
So I think, I think for you, it's about listening to your heart. And I've seen him in live many times, and when, as a musician, and for him, he puts his heart and soul into his music. And I think you need to look at where you want to take the band and who is helping to bring the music to others, who is building it up, who is giving their heart and soul, and who is not, and really understanding how that connects with the overall belief of the band and the music you put forward. Because it is such a powerful, it's so powerful to people, you really need to figure out who fits in that and who doesn't. And instead of saying, well, I like this person, so I don't want to put them out, or this person gave me the ultimatum, so they need to go, you really need to look at what is the overall best part of how this fits in with everything. And the band itself, I believe, has its own personality. It has its own soul. Each one of you are part of that. And it's how does that culmination of that energy come together? And so if there's one person who's the bad apple that kind of brings it down, maybe it's time for them to move on to something else. But as long as you make the decision out of love and kindness for that person, for the audience you reach, for the music overall, and the energy of the band and the music that you guys do, I think it's right. So I don't know if I actually completely answered your question. I probably gave you more, but you know how to get in touch with me. So just let me know if you need any more clarification on that. But Victoria, I'll let you jump in.
I am going to chime in.
Yeah,
I can't help myself on this one.
Yeah.
So the first thing that comes in, this is a pattern for you around feeling responsible about making everybody happy, and also how it impacts you. So when they're misbehaving, now it's like, man, now I got to deal with it. And it's like, say you're playing with a bunch of siblings, and then your siblings start fighting. And then mom is sort of like, you figure this out or you all have to separate. And it's just like, man, they ruined my fun. So it's that kind of pattern for you. Okay. Really, this band, I believe, is your band. I believe it's your mission and purpose. It's what you want to do. You are I don't know anything about it, so maybe Katherine can tell me differently, but it feels to me like you're the moral compass. You're the center of it. Right. And so how you decide to move forward is really, really important, because you're setting the tenor for the whole thing. And I think that the more you honor your truth, whatever that is, what feels good for you, the more you can use this opportunity. And it's really an opportunity. It's really an opportunity to redefine yourself, how the band works. If people leave, they will leave, and, you will replace them, and you'll reach a new equilibrium. But I also kind of feel that if you stand up for yourself, not in any other kind of way, but like, this is the tone. This is what is important to me. This is how I like it to be. This is what I see. And this is how we're going to be moving forward. You may not have a problem. People might just get back on you may find that the problem blows itself over, but if it doesn't, the right people will leave. And the last thing they say, and this is the first thing they said, but I kind of lost it and everything else that came through, like, the choice should be about what you want, right? What you want, not what you think is best for the band, not what you think is fair, but what you want. This is helping you clarify what you want. So whatever you want is the right choice here. Okay. As long as the wanting isn't coming from a, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed. I mean, but even so, they even say that's fine. If what you want is to tell someone that was mean and, that wasn't cool, and I don't want to deal with the band if this is going to keep happening, I'd love to have you stay, but not, make a choice. Like, you know what I mean? Whatever you want is the right answer. So I hope that makes sense, what I just said. And again, I'm also distracted by the sun, which I can't show you right now, but
Yeah.
it's really
And
pretty.
I also just got to the right person will leave, whichever one.
Yeah. And it may be neither. I get it may be neither, because if you stand up in the correct way and have peace, and rather than feeling like you're being pulled apart, recognize you're the center of the band, and you can say, this is how it has to be, take it or leave it, in a loving, kind way. But like, just, we can't have this kind of drama. We have to be able to work together. It might resolve itself.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we got time for one more. So I'm going to scroll through and let us know how all of that went. I think there was like one more person that we didn't get to. I got a heart. I don't know who that's from, but hopefully that's good news.
Usually hearts are good. They're,
Did we hit? All right. He said, we said exactly what he needed to hear. All right. Last one. I know, I hope I didn't miss anybody, but we're doing our best. Oh, we got a bunch of people. All right. Jill would like to know, am I heading in the right direction? Another general question. So, and it's totally fine, but just know sometimes when they're general, I don't know. Do you find it's more challenging in these things, or is it the same for you?
I don't find they're necessarily difficult. I find that I'm giving someone an answer and I have no context around it. Like, I don't know Jill. I know Jill's, but I don't assume it's someone that I know personally.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting
but
it.
I do know whatever I say will resonate with them and however it needs to be. Or it might resonate with a totally different Jill. Maybe I'm talking wrong.
I love that. All right. See, you guys are perfect. And again, sometimes too, we want to ask a general question because we don't want to be too specific on Facebook, and that is understandable too. So we're gonna get the answer now.
So Jill, for you, what I get is that you actually not really, they want me to tell you, and I'm gonna try, I'm not a sugarcoater when I channel. Because they're telling me don't sugarcoat it, just give it to her straight, she can handle it. So what they're telling me is that you are a people pleaser. You want to do what everyone else wants. You want to try to connect with them. You want to try to be what others want you to be, and you need to stop that. You really need to just truly focus on what you want, what you need, and where you need to be at, and what you love. Where your passions lie, and what your passions are, but everyone says, oh, that's not possible. It's like people that say, I'm going to be an artist. You can't be an artist. You can never make money at being an artist. You're just gonna, you need to get another job. We're going to do this. It's like, no, you can be an artist. I mean, there's so many different types of artists. There's actual painters, there's musicians, there's songwriters, there's regular writers. I mean, there's just all these different kinds of things to be an artist. And I don't know if art is what you are, or that's your passion, but that's the example they're giving me, because they're saying that you can relate with that even better. And so it's about truly doing what you want and you need, and stop trying to please people. When you can let go of that people pleasing, and this is definitely something that you need to learn in this lifetime. It's taken you a few lifetimes to learn this, and they're saying, like, they keep saying she's kind of a slow learner. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but I want you to understand this is your chance to really step out, use your voice, and really push forward, because you can do it. They've given you all the tools, and ask your guides. In particular, I see more of like a father, grandfather figure that's around you who's been gone for quite some time, but he's really saying, I'm going to help you with this, because it mostly comes from your family, or the people pleasing people are. So definitely work on that. I hope that was helpful for you. I know it was pretty direct,
great,
but I feel like something that you're ready for.
Yay. All right. One more. If we didn't get everyone, there'll be other times. Shelly asks, I've closed off almost all contact with, with man I've have involvement with since 16, and last 6 years in intimate relationship. Are we done?
I believe that you guys are moving in very different directions, in that the choice of being done is up to the two of you. You guys could kind of go along and try to keep this working or try to make it work, but you have to look at what truly makes you happy. Does he build you up? I always look at relationships as there's three people in a relationship. There's the two people that are in there, and there's the third person that is the two of them together. And like a tripod, if it is not balanced and even, the tripod falls over. So are all three of you, or you two, and then the person, your relationship, the person you are together, is that balanced, equal, and are they building each other up? And if the answer is no, and it's not fixable, you can't raise one of those up, then maybe this isn't the right step. Maybe it is time to move on from it. I get a feeling like you already know. You already know what you're doing and you're already starting to do it. And so just continue on that path, but understand if you're in a relationship and they are not there to build you up, help you, or make you, or being equal to you to help grow this relationship and make this tripod larger, then maybe that's not the right relationship for you. And maybe that it's not for your greatest good.
Yeah, I get that you already know too. So I get that the answer was already in the question. So if that makes sense. But sometimes it's hard, and sometimes, we let go gradually, because especially when it's that long of a connection.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Perfect.
All right. We're going to start to wrap it up. I will look to see if anyone else, I want to let people know, if you like this, if this is fun for you, we have some paid opportunities coming up. Let's see all the eyeballs drop. No, but really very, very cool thing that I'm going to be doing next year. I'm going to be doing two things that are coming up. I'm going to be doing collaborating with the amazing Lisa McCourt. Lisa's been a guest on the podcast twice. She's been in this group. She's amazing. She's a joy teacher. She is the author of she's a best-selling author who has sold over 9 million books. Isn't that crazy? 9 million books. And she's super humble about it, but she just hit the 9 million mark. So I'm going to be teaming up with Lisa. I'm so excited. And we are going to be doing monthly meetings for the foreseeable future, starting in 2023 in January, where she's going to teach you the tools and skills that she has learned and been teaching people for many, many years on how to raise your joy set point and live in more joy. And I'm going to be doing readings. I'll probably be talking about joy too, but mostly I've been brought on for these gallery style readings. So if you want to do this kind of thing in a more intimate environment, and elevate your joy too, which, like I said, is what you're here to do, check that out. What else do I have going on? And we'll try to post that in the comments, but you can find that all over the place. And it's not super expensive either. It's a really good deal. And I believe right now she has a 2-for-1 thing going. So you can buy a class for yourself and get a class for free for a friend. So as a holiday gift. So, check that out too. And then the other thing that we'll have coming up, I will always be committed to this group and doing lives, but stay tuned, because sometime in 2023, I don't know when, because so many things are going on, but sometime in 2023, we will also be launching our own Intuitive Connection community membership group, which will be regular meetings and readings and stuff like that. So stay tuned for that. But mostly we got the Lisa thing coming up. I have a class coming up that I'll tell you more about in mid-January that I'm really excited about. And yeah, now I'm rambling. You guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope we got to all of your questions, but we'll be back soon if we did it. So stick around. Thank you to this amazing person for her amazing guidance and sharing her time with us today, and for appearing on the podcast. And if you want to actually hear her channel the Druids, which we did not have time for her to do today, I know you were loosely channeling today, but like really get into it, check out the episode, because she channels for me and it's really cool. She got some great wisdom for me on the show, and it was really cool to be a part of that. All right. So thank you, Katherine. Thank you, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your night or day wherever you are. And